intentional.
Not with what you just blurted out. Hello and welcome to Cognitions, speaking the unspeakable with JP.
And Stacy D. Can't hear myself at all.
I am JP Craddock, and I am here with the one and only Stacy D. Love. And we are broadcasting here on KUAW Radio, which stands for Knowledge, Understanding,
and Wisdom.
All right. Sorry, the D was late, so we didn't get us a good sound check going. D, what are you doing right now? What are you doing? Are you tangled up in you're tangled up in the microphone?
You know, they trying to get me tied up, and I refuse. The devil, it is a lie. You'll never get me tied up. But
you're tied up in the headset and the microphone. What is going wrong right now? I don't know.
Like, my ADHD, you guys are on 50. Yes, I was like, JP, you don't have to tell the world about me being late. And then I'm telling them that we need to get off the air at 3 o'clock because I got another appointment. Mr. Walker, who don't never do nothing right, he gonna say,
"Oh, you are late. You cannot make those comments when you are late."
Okay, I'm late for a change. Okay, but then Mr. Walker would be like, "Well, you was late all the other times. Guess you're gonna be late for that appointment too." So I'm just like, "Okay, is
that's
just
true.
beat up Stacy D's day or something?"
Yeah, that makes sense. Once you late, D, it throws the whole day off. There's no making up the time. Just roll with it, D.
I know, because I'm gonna tell you what happened.
Because that's what I do.
So this is gonna be my check-in. We know you roll with it. This is my check-in. So everybody know I go get my hair done every other Thursday. I have a standing appointment at 8 a.m. So this heifer gonna be greedy for money and gonna do somebody's hair before mine.
Were you late for that?
No. Well, yeah, I was on time at 8 a.m., but she still had someone in my chair at 8 a.m., which pushed me back like a whole hour. I didn't get into the chair till like 10 minutes to 9.
So she was running late.
Yeah, Kayla. And then she gonna get mad because she didn't get no step.
Okay, now hold on though. But you said she gave your spot away. She didn't give it away. She was running late. Somebody probably came up in there real nappy. She had to handle that.
No, my appointment's the first appointment on Thursdays. It's 8 a.m.
Oh, she opens at 8.
Yes, she opens up at 8.
Somebody rolled in at 7:30.
Or she made another appointment before mine trying to get this money in. And that's what have thrown everything off. My pedicure was off. My tax appointment was
You need to go see Shanita next time.
Shanita don't do she don't do wigs and stuff.
How you know?
Because I already asked.
Oh, because Shanita has a full boutique. She's selling clothes and everything up out of there. We're going to give a shout out to Shanita. What's the name of Shanita's shop?
What is it? Unique.
It is located on State Avenue in Kansas City, Kansas.
Was that like 32nd and State Avenue? Yeah, and she's been in the business for over 30 years.
No, it's like 20-something, I think. I don't know, but
that's 29th Street right there.
Yep, it might be.
So it's like 32. It's the old Kroger's. If anybody from Wyandotte County, the old Kroger's.
There was a Kroger's there.
Yeah, and then it was Mother High because I went there, and now it's a church.
Oh,
and then she pays booth rent on that one little part right. Well, it's not little, but that one part over there.
I never knew where Mother High was.
That was
for those of you who are not from around here. They used to send the pregnant students to a whole separate school.
I got kicked out because I had a fight. Don't you remember I had a fight with that white boy? Remember, he was a twin. It was Wendy and Wendell White. Yeah. We was fighting. And
you
had me a black
eye.
Mother
High?
No, I got kicked out of Washington.
Oh, okay. This is how they used to do it, which is, when you think about it, kind of foul. If somebody got pregnant, they just disappeared.
They disappeared.
And then when they came back, they looked the same.
But you didn't have to disappear. You could have stayed in school, but they wasn't. Yeah, but they wasn't giving you all the extra things like Mother High. You know, like you get sick, you can't go to school. You know, but hell, I was 14 years old having a baby. What type of illnesses was I having? Mama didn't know till I was 6 months pregnant.
I thought it was like a banishment.
No.
Like, ooh, you pregnant, you got to get out of here.
No, you don't have to.
So nobody knows. So
because they made me go. It was either I was going to get kicked out for the rest of the semester for fighting, or go to Mother High. So there was because I did hit him first.
You were fighting pregnant.
Yeah.
Did you know you were pregnant?
Yeah.
D? Why are you punching people while you pregnant? He can't fight back because
Yes,
you're
he did.
pregnant.
He gave me a black eye.
It's against the law to fight a pregnant person.
Well, evidently he didn't know, huh? Wendell White.
Did you just?
I got you.
You
Yeah,
done
he wasn't
said
at
his
y'all
name.
stuff too. I sure did. He gave me a black eye.
I do not remember him.
You don't
Was
remember
he in your
that?
class?
No, he was in your class. They were twins, Wendy and Wendell White.
I don't know this fool.
They wasn't like, you know how we were like up here.
Yeah.
They was like in the middle part. You know, people. You know the. I mean, I don't like.
He
I want to.
fought a pregnant person.
I don't think he knew I was pregnant either because remember remember I carried it in my hips and my butt, so you really couldn't tell. And then that's when they started inventing stretch pants and the oversized shirt, and you'll put a belt on it. So I was always fashionable. So that's what I had: stretch pants and the big shirts and the big. Yeah. So Mama didn't know till I was like 6.5 months.
Okay, so that's where Mother High was. So, Shanita's shop.
Yeah, that's where we started with, wasn't it?
It's a full boutique. Have you checked
Full
it out?
boutique. Yeah, I've been
She's
there.
doing nails and
Everything.
feet and massage therapists up in there, and
She's doing it.
yeah. But you said she won't do wigs.
She does. Well, she usually didn't do wigs.
Okay, as long as y'all don't have a wig, y'all can go see Shanita. But remember what we covered on the show last week. Be careful about getting a perm. Okay, be careful about getting a perm. All right. Coming up on the show today, we have what is reality therapy and how can it help heal our relationships.
Ooh.
Now, this is a therapy that was created by William Glasser, MD, who is a psychiatrist. Now, this is interesting because in the movies, they always show psychiatrists doing therapy, but in the real world, psychiatrists don't typically play that game. They don't do that. They do med management. They are cycling people in and out every 15 or 20 minutes.
Don't get any information on them.
They don't really spend, they're not spending 60
service.
Yeah, they're not spending 60, 90 minutes with a client. But this is a psychiatrist who developed a therapy. It's been around since the 60s. So we're going to take a look at that. What is reality therapy? Because, I was thinking about this. 3 things that therapists do: assess, diagnose, and treat. And we have done a lot of shows on the assessment and the diagnosing, but we haven't talked about, well, what do you do after that? Well, you do therapy. So we're going to talk about the therapy. And this is a therapy that people can practice this on themselves. And so we're going to get into this.
It's going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be good because reality therapy is a therapy that can get a little rough, depending on the client and depending on the therapist. And so in my case,
JP.
These sessions get rough sometimes. That reality therapy can get rough. But, I only know how to keep it real, which is a good fit for reality therapy.
Cognitions, speaking the unspeakable.
Speaking the unspeakable. All right, D, what's your check-in?
I think I just did.
You just did your check-in. Okay. I don't know. To save time, I'm just gonna skip my check-in. Okay. Let's go
How's
straight
Sasha doing with well, I have a check-in because I know everyone is wondering how Sasha Pooh is doing with dance. Oh, you're not in that.
She hasn't. That was just last week.
Yeah, I mean, she
hasn't been back.
She's supposed to be going to 3 different dance studios.
Yeah, and I don't know if Nadine
has made a decision.
Scheduled with we haven't been to all 3 yet.
Well,
she only went to the 1.
I think Christy was very opening that she got in so fast.
Yes. Yes.
It says a lot.
Yeah, because we're not taking her back to the place up north. It was black owned with no black kids there. None. We never met the owner, I don't think.
Really?
All the staff were white, the kids were white, but it's a black-owned business. But here's the thing. We patronize black-owned businesses not only to support black-owned businesses, but also so our kids can be exposed to other people who look like them. And so I was like, we're only covering one of those two bases with this place. Like, I'm happy that we're supporting a black-owned business, but ain't nobody here black.
Where are they?
These people don't even know this is a black-owned business, or they probably wouldn't be here. So,
you're probably telling the truth, though.
yeah, so we had to roll up out of there. All right, mental health and illness in the news. I'm going to roll through these kind of quick. The KCK School Board, we're in Kansas City for those of you who are not here, but I'm addressing this because this is going to become a national thing. They are reviewing a proposal to spend $6.7 million to add 1,600 cameras into the classrooms using federal COVID-19 relief funds. Now, the teachers are protesting. Teachers are like, no.
You know why? Because they're not in there teaching our children. That's why they're so dumb.
I'm determined my kid is not going to a single school in that district. We have had
private school.
We have had horrible experiences having our boys in that district, but the teachers are protesting because they don't want to be scrutinized. They don't want people watching them.
I mean, but who's all going to be watching them? It's just basically
everybody.
I mean, everybody can go in and look and see what they're doing. I don't think that's right. And that's going to be through some HIPAA stuff. Now, I think that the cameras should be for administration and also should be for the safety of the teachers. They need to look at it like that because these kids is out of control.
Well, that is one of the reasons was safety. The original reason was safety, but listen to this. What the school district did, they decided to put another additional twist on it. They said that it is also going to be very helpful for live streaming and recording lessons for absent students and for classrooms where there is a long-term sub due to the teacher shortage. And they are already spending money on, because of the teacher shortage, they're paying for live stream classes from teachers in other states already. Because there's a teacher shortage. So they're like, look, ain't nobody just trying to watch y'all.
Exactly.
Although we are, because y'all ain't teaching these kids.
Making them dumb.
Ain't nobody. But this is not just to watch y'all. This is going to be beneficial for students who aren't here, because one of the things that I have had some conversations with some parents who say that their kids did much better at home virtually. They did better with the freedom to kind of have more control over their schedules.
I don't believe in that.
And their grades went up.
No, but we need structure. There's structure in everything.
Well, true. But for those parents who are like, I don't want my kid getting COVID. I don't want my kid up in there with these heathens, okay? Because the school that they had teachers talking about this was Wyandotte High School.
Exactly.
And as a parent who pulled my kids from Wyandotte High School.
Wyandotte is terrible. Like, I have a couple of clients. Exactly. I have a couple of clients, and I go up to the school to talk to them, and I'm like, okay, I need a private room. Okay. I'm like sitting in the office for 45 minutes waiting on a private room. Not to mention, I always come up here every Wednesday. Every Wednesday morning, I'm here. So why you just can't give me a private room? So I'm going off on them.
They have bigger problems than that, though. Like, the first when I became a therapist, this was a long time ago, but the first school I went into in the district
was Wyandotte.
Right?
And we have all these Wyandotte alumni that love Wyandotte.
My first day walking in, and I don't think I'd ever been in that school before. My first day walking up in there. That's
where all the plays and stuff used to be at.
A kid was running down the hall yelling. He was going to his car to get his gun, and teachers was chasing him. Johnny, don't go get your gun. And I'm standing there with my briefcase and my plan. I was like,
should I leave or should I stay?
It's going to be a rough day today. That is the school that I had a kid referred to me. He had missed almost a whole semester of school.
And they didn't even know it.
We get to the meeting. He was in the school the whole time. The kids have so much fun there that kids from other schools will skip at their school to go to that school to hang out and have fun.
No, my children did that. My daughters, they would leave Washington and go to Wyandotte with their cousin
And kick it. Yes. So when their kids are truant, because in the meeting it was like, well, he's truant, but he's kind of not truant because he was here. He was truant from class. He wasn't truant from school. So like, a kid can't really be put on probation for skipping class. He didn't skip school. But yes, because that school is so huge that there are places
it's
that
the oldest school in Kansas.
Yeah, it used to be an all-white school.
Sure did.
Ed Asner went to school there. For those of you if you ever watched the Mary Tyler Moore show, this is an old school show from the 70s, but
if they never heard of him, you watching the Mary Tyler Moore show, it's not going to help them.
Everybody should have heard of Mary Tyler Moore, though. Mary Tyler Moore had a show. Betty White was on that show.
Oh, but Betty White.
And Ed
103
Asner.
years old.
Ed Asner was on that show. He's from Kansas City. He graduated from Wyandotte High School. Okay,
Kansas City, Kansas.
Yeah, Kansas City, Kansas. Okay, so I think it's a good idea.
I do too.
Because it is going to help with safety. It is going to increase the accountability. If I think parents need to be able to see that a teacher is teaching their student, and it is going to help.
Okay, I don't think they're going to do that. That's going to be HIPAA, so they'll be able to see all the other children in the class.
Well, they'll probably position the camera. They'll probably have a camera positioned on the teacher. And a camera position. So
no
on
more
the
teachers
class.
Sleeping in class or playing on their cell phones.
Because what they're paying for now is just a teacher virtually coming into the classroom. The long-term sub, because subs, they like, look, I do a little bit, but I'm not a teacher. I'm not literally gonna teach calculus to these kids because I didn't take it and I don't know it. And so when it comes to virtual learning, I think that this is going to be a good thing. I hope it passes. They need to do it. Put the cameras up in them classrooms, okay? Especially in these rough
And he said he was going fast through the...
Well, D, because you had a lot to say about it. Okay, real quick. The rest of these are quick. A result of the hugely successful Jeffrey Dahmer series on Netflix is that kids are dressing up like Jeffrey Dahmer for Halloween.
Stop. I really thought we were going to get past not talking about that mess here on Cognitions Speaking Unspeakable.
We have to talk about this because here's
I didn't watch it. I'm not going to watch it.
I haven't watched it yet.
And I'm not. And
I watched a little
everybody
bit.
Now, see,
I had to turn it off. I wasn't prepared for them to immediately be so. It was a lot. It was intense.
A lot, and those
so I had
are
to
those
step away
spirits
from it.
coming into you. I'm just not for that, so I don't watch scary movies.
But here's the reason why this is an issue. If you think about it, from what I saw, it was so gruesome. Kids that are trick-or-treating age shouldn't even be watching it. And so parents are either allowing their young children to watch something that is a gruesome depiction
and
of
let's
murder.
remember what we talked about a long time ago on our story, on our series, was how their minds are.
Right. You want to elaborate on that real quick?
No, I'm gonna let you elaborate because I don't even want to talk about none of this.
Okay.
And if you are a parent and you're letting your child watch, JP is gonna hotline you.
Murders.
You know he a hotline king.
I will highlight.
But on a serious note, you should not. Once again, tell them, JP, you should
That's
not.
the mental illness piece.
Yes.
Do not allow your kids to watch the depiction of gruesome, horrible, gory murders, or the parents are watching it, and if they're not letting the kids watch it, they are so into it that they're dressing their kids like Jeffrey Dahmer. But I don't think kids are going to be willing to dress up like a character or a person that they know nothing about. So parents are obviously allowing their kids. So Jeffrey Dahmer's father is contemplating suing Netflix because he feels like Netflix basically glamorized his son's sociopathy, and their perspective is we're presenting what happened, and we're making money, but we're presenting what happened.
There have already been some Jeffrey Dahmer movies. Some things just let it die.
Yeah, Netflix has done, I guess, at least a couple of things on him. But my point to our listeners and our viewers, please do not allow your children to absorb. A child's brain isn't fully developed. The prefrontal cortex isn't fully developed until the age of 25. You cannot allow your child to absorb that and then to glamorize it and celebrate it in the form of dressing like this murderer, this serial killer for Halloween.
That's not cute.
Come on, people.
But that's how it is in a lot of churches and schools that do celebrate Halloween. I don't even celebrate Halloween because it's a very evil evil holiday, and I don't even celebrate it. And if I like to go back to the Bible, and it says that when you see things, it goes into your spirit, it goes into your mind. So why would you want to infect your mind and your spirit of these horrible things? So once again, just stop watching it. Everything that's on TV is not meant for you to see.
Okay, I have one more mental health and illness story.
We only had 3.
The St. Louis shooter, Orlando Harris. This is the recent shooting that was in St. Louis.
At the school? Was this another school shooting?
Yes. He left behind a notebook. And what he wrote in his notebook, tell me if you identify something wrong with this. This is what he left in his notebook. 2 people were killed, a teacher and a student.
But he had 600 rounds. So he was about to go, about to get really busy.
And this is after the gun had been confiscated from him. His parents called in, the gun got confiscated, it somehow was turned over to somebody, and he ended up with it again, and that's when he shot and killed these people. But listen to what was in his notebook. Quote, "I don't have any friends. I don't have any family. I've never had a girlfriend. I've never had a social life. I've been an isolated loner my entire life. This was the perfect storm for a mass shooter." End of quote. He ended it. He wrote that. A reporter didn't write that. This was the perfect storm for a mass shooter. Does anything about that whole statement stand out to you, D?
Yes, the whole statement stands out. But that last part of it?
Yes, listen to this. This is my thought. We as a society played a role in creating that mass shooter, because, and those of us as mental health professionals, it started with us. It's unavoidable, but what has happened is we have provided so much psychoeducation on the mindset, the insanity behind mass shootings, the
reason why they do it,
that now we have a shooter who is stating, from all that he has learned, all the information that has been disseminated.
He's supposed to be a mass shooter.
Yes. That's his destiny. This was the perfect storm for a mass shooter. And so now we have people who, because we have provided so much psychoeducation on how people end up doing this, and we have people who might not have ended up deciding to become a mass shooter in reaction to all those things that he noted, which are typical for mass shooters: the loneliness, the isolativeness, I ain't had no friends, I ain't had no girlfriend, don't nobody
the way
like
that
me.
He felt about himself, and he evidently, if his family, and I want to do this, if his parents was like, you're doing something odd. Let me go and check your bedroom.
They had
and
him in
find a
therapy and
gun.
everything.
Yeah, and find a gun. So how are you saying that you don't have any family, but they loved you and
Right.
loved you enough to go find this gun and try to help you?
Fully active and involved parents.
Yes.
Okay. But that's the downside, and this stood out to me because on this radio show, we provide a lot of psychoeducation. We cover multiple
Yes.
diagnoses.
Yes.
We are trying to educate the community, but there are some people who are going to use that knowledge to their benefit, do horrible things, and then say, well, you know, I got antisocial personality disorder.
Say it again, JP. Say it again.
I got, you know, I'm a narcissist. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Do it again, JP. Do it again.
yeah, I mean, that's what they doing. And that's what he did. Because
This is
think about it. A lot of kids experience all these things,
All those things.
not having friends, not having family, and they don't become mass shooters. But for this particular individual who has, because we've provided so much information on this that even the kids know. Because remember, I had that situation I presented where I think it was the shooter that shot up the elementary school,
Right,
and they were
right.
saying that when he was teased in
The
school,
little
he
boy
was.
wasn't right out from the beginning.
And they were calling him a mass shooter as a part of bullying him. Even the kids know the symptoms and the traits of these people.
This is getting very scary. And JP, I want to double back on your mental health and in the news. We're about to see some copycatter.
Oh yeah, well, there's
About to
always
see some copy,
copycat.
but we're about to see even more. Watch what I tell you.
'Cause
from
there's-
the man was the second in the news. I forgot the name. The watching the movie, the Halloween outfits.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer. We're about to see even more copycatters, and watch what I tell you. It's
Quite
always
possibly.
copycatters. It's always copycatters.
Right.
But now, since they just put it out there and everybody's saying how good this movie is, and you need to watch it, and da 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 this and da 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 that,
Yeah.
and when they're already borderline and they watch it,
It's so, I think people are drawn to it because it's so horrific. Like, he was so extremely insane and awful.
He
It's kind of
really
like when
was.
people drive by auto accidents and they just can't stop looking. They're looking. What he did was so horrible that people are watching it. But it's still sick
it's very sick.
to dress your kids up like a person who was
It's so many other people that they could
murdering all
dress
these
their
black
children
males.
up to.
Right.
All
right.
right, then let's go into the
Let's
reality
get to the
therapy.
Yes, question of the day. What is reality therapy and how can it help heal our relationships? Now, this
We need
therapy
the
can
healing.
it can be used not just in couples therapy, any relational situations, you know, parents and children. It can be used in individual therapy if the individual is addressing relationship issues, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so reality therapy. Now, this is a therapy that focuses on improving present relationships and circumstances.
Relationships and
Right.
circumstances.
Reality therapy sees behavior as choices and encourages people to accept responsibility for the choices that they make. Now, it teaches us that while we cannot control how we feel, we can control how we
Feel.
think. Now, let me say this. I disagree with that aspect of this therapy because we can control how we feel. And so when we cover rational emotive psychotherapy in the future, I am going to explain
It's RDA, right?
RET.
Or RET. Yeah.
I'm going to explain how we can control our feelings. So I disagree with that from Dr. Glass, and he's wrong about that.
He's wrong about that from JP.
And all these are cognitive therapies. And so it's interesting when one cognitive therapy disagrees with another cognitive therapy. Okay. We choose to behave in certain ways, and these choices can help or hamper the ability to satisfy essential needs. I agree with that part. choice theory, because this is rooted in choice theory. Now, let me explain what that is. Choice theory is that the behaviors we choose are key to our accountability and who we are. Okay? And so, yes, you have a choice. You don't have to do certain things to your loved ones. You have a choice, and you have to be responsible and accept accountability for the choices that you make. Now, when is this therapy used? The principles of reality therapy can be applied to individuals, parent-child relationships, and family therapy, as I already said, okay? Dealing with relationship difficulties. This is a present-day therapy. Now, this is another aspect that I don't totally agree with, even though I do this therapy a lot with couples. But it's a present-day therapy. Now, here's the thing. Basically, what he is saying is you only focus on the present. When I do reality therapy, I do complement it with another therapy called insight-oriented psychotherapy, and we're going to cover that on the show also. To me, okay, insight-oriented psychotherapy is a therapy where you figure out why you do what you do. What makes you tick, and sometimes you have to go back
and figure it out. The reason why you doing that.
You got to go back. You got to go back. You got to go back. Sometimes further and further and further to gain insight into what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Once you understand it, the client is going to be more willing to change their current day behaviors, and so sometimes
and the way they think.
Right, and so sometimes for me, to get a person to even buy into reality therapy, I use the insight-oriented psychotherapy. You see? Mm-hmm. And now here's an example. I had a client who never gives up to a fault. Like, he does not let go. He does not know how to let go. Mm-hmm. Even in unhealthy relationships where he is being abused, you know, because we talked about male victims of domestic violence. No.
Got a whole lot of them then, don't you?
A lot.
Just getting beat up by these women.
Some rough women out there, okay? Woo. A lot of it's psychological and emotional abuse. But a lot of times, men in that situation are like, well, I can't give up, because if I give up, I'm a quitter. If I give up, I'm a quitter. Insight-oriented psychotherapy allowed me to take him back to where that came from. And what he talked about is, as a kid, as an athlete, he was taught, you never give up, you never quit, you never quit. And he played sports.
Oh, wow.
He would play with broken ribs.
Oh, wow.
Broken limbs after multiple concussions. And even when he wanted to walk away, the coaches and his parents encouraged him to continue because he was so good. He wanted to walk away. And so what I had to help him to see is that he's continuing to play that out in his current relationship.
And everything.
And so, according to reality therapy, you're not supposed to do that. But I can't get him to change his current behaviors without him understanding where they came from and helping him to see that back then he knew what was best for him. The adults did not. He had good judgment. The adults did not. And so he has to tap back into his good judgment that he had as a kid and apply it to the present. See?
Wow, you see how you have to put two of them into one? Give me some, JP.
You gotta mix your, and this is what I do, and I always encourage therapists to do this, is because there are different therapies depending upon the diagnosis and the presenting problem of the client. But a therapist needs to be able, when you are with that client, you got to be able to, I need to apply this therapy, and I need to apply this therapy.
Put it all together.
Sometimes you got to do two of them at the same time. The D is so crazy. Let me tell you. But to me, it's a mistake to be like, okay, with this client, I'm doing this one therapy, and we're gonna go through the entire treatment process with just this one therapy. When there are other therapies that can complement that therapy.
That's right. That's right.
And so I didn't agree with that part.
And also, and I'm gonna tell you where I got that from, JP. I got that from my mentor, Ron Wilson, when he told me you got to have a whole suitcase full of them, and you pick out whatever you need.
Because that's a real clinician. Ron Wilson is a real clinician.
And still doing it at 60-some years old.
He ain't playing around. He's serious about therapy. Because here's something to note. Therapy is an artistic science.
Yes, it is.
Art is in being able to join and engage with your client. And they have done research that shows that the primary component to people having a successful experience in therapy is based upon the relationship with the therapist, regardless of the specific psychotherapies that therapist is using. Now we're gonna cover we're gonna cover these psychotherapies though.
Did you get that? I learned that from my granddaughter. Period.
Oh, that's what she said. Okay, and she means it when she said it, and you done picked it up. But yes, so even a therapist who is not as skilled or knowledgeable in multiple therapies can still be successful to a large degree if they know how to form a strong connection with their client. Because then the client, they trust the therapist and will follow the therapist's guidance. They will. So that's the artistic piece. Now, for me, because I'm a little bit of a, I'm very clinical. I have to have the science aspect of it also. And that's where the specific psychotherapies come into play. A therapist who has a balance between those two should be unstoppable.
And that's JP. And I'm the other one. We're going to have a great connection. And then if I need something, I'm going to call JP. Be like, JP, what do I do? Like I did last week.
Your instinct was good, though, with that, D.
I hit it, though,
Your instincts was good with that situation.
I hit it because you're getting me better, boy. You refining me.
Right.
He's getting me better with the science, you guys. He's getting me better.
Yeah, that was a good situation. Okay, so here's what to expect if you go and see a therapist and they're doing reality therapy. Little or no time is spent delving into the past if they strictly doing it. Okay, don't come see me, because if we got to go there, we're going to
have to go to the past, right, even with myself.
If we got to go, we got to go. Since reality therapy is solutions focused, okay, brief solutions focused therapy, we're going to cover that one also one day. You will examine how your behavior is interfering with your ability to form stronger relationships. Now, this is where it gets rough. Hold it, where it gets rough. Let me explain. Because when I'm sitting with clients and they are doing things.
Bye, Professor.
Oh,
He's
my
just gonna sit right there. He do this. I was really trying to ignore him.
Are you kidding me? D,
I was trying to ignore.
Why did you fall for that?
I know. He just kept on.
This is so important what I'm talking about right now, D.
Okay, go. And they still messing with me. Still, close the door.
Oh my God, this.
Come on, we got time.
D.
Come on. We got time because I was 15 minutes late.
Okay, this is really important. Where was I with this?
Solution focus.
Okay.
Come on, let's stay focused, please.
Hold on. I'm so I can't believe y'all just did that.
They did
during
it to
the
me.
show.
I've been trying to do better, and they keep bothering me.
Give me a minute to get past it.
It's the professor. He know how my ADHD is.
It's you.
I was playing with I'm playing with the thing, trying to.
You got to self-manage your symptoms.
I'm trying to. Don't you look? I'm up here playing with the thing, with the rope, and he kept.
Oh my God,
Mr. Walker. The professor's not going to be able to be in the room no more. He's going to be out of the studio.
You can't say he can't be in here. He works here.
Well, he have to work after we get here before we do it afterwards. Because, he just stood in the door. You seen that. Didn't you see that, Mr. Walker?
He said he winked at her.
He said what?
He said he winked at you.
I didn't even see him winking.
I was in the middle of something so important when all that happened. I'm still trying to get past it. Okay.
Solution focus.
Here is the aspect of this therapy is the core of it is identifying with the client how their behavior is sabotaging their goal of having a happy, healthy relationship.
Happy and healthy.
And so what the therapist has to do is be willing. This is where it takes a therapist who has a strong enough personality to not only assess, to identify what the negative behaviors are, but be willing to confront the client on the behaviors
he's one of the best
that are sabotaging and destroying their relationship. Now, this is why I said this therapy can get rough, because you have to, for me, when I'm dealing with dominant male personalities, abusers, alpha females, alpha males.
I don't believe in alpha females.
They're alpha female. I'm talking some of those women who are abusive to their men. Those are alpha females. And so confronting their behaviors, the sessions get intense. That's what I'm saying. They can get rough, okay? Because I don't tend to sugarcoat. I'm very direct.
And Gerald ends up kicking him out of his office.
I'm real direct and upfront. Okay, and so it's, helping them to see how their behavior is interfering with their ability to form stronger relationships with their loved one. Okay, and figuring out what kind of changes they need to make in their behavior in order to get what they want. Because if they say they want a happy marriage, for example, okay, you say you want a happy marriage, but you continue to call your wife a whole bag of bees every time you get pissed. That behavior does not match with your stated goal.
Tries to eat her food. He part retarded.
Eat her food.
Yeah, call me a bag of bees and then you gonna eat my food.
Oh yeah, because she cooked dinner.
Retarded.
Yeah, and so helping him to see that if this is truly your goal, how does that behavior fit with the goal?
It don't.
Because 2 + 2 = 4, and you trying to do.
He's about to be a negative.
You trying to do 10 + 2 and equal 4, and it's not. You can't cuss somebody out and demean them and then say, I want to have a happy relationship. And the other thing that I like about this therapy is you hold them accountable. So when they say, well, she made me do it, they get confronted on that. Because you don't get to blame your behavior on another person, because nobody controls you. There are no puppet strings.
No puppet strings.
Okay. And so working with them on that and helping them to see that this is a way for them to learn to reconnect with their loved one is by changing their behavior. Now, here's the thing. This acronym, WDEP, what is WDEP in reality therapy? The W stands for wants. So you ask the client, what do you want?
What you want?
I want to have a happy
relationship. I want to love my wife.
I want to love my baby. I want her to love me. Okay, that's what you want.
That's what you want.
D, doing.
Not stands for Stacy D.
This don't stand for the D. This is D. In WDEP, doing. What the individual is doing in the relationship, okay?
To cause the problem.
What the individual is doing.
So he can't get what he wants.
Right. So it's like, well, this is what you said you want, but this is what you're doing. And like I said, that's where it gets rough. Like, you want a happy marriage, but you want to be able to call her a whole bag of bees.
It don't go together.
E stands for evaluation, assessing the effectiveness of the individual's behavior. So this is where, I have to point out to clients, like, how is that working? How is that working for you? You want to have this happy relationship, but this is what you're doing. It doesn't make sense. And here's an example. I have a client who he has sent me a text of something that he had done a million times before. I've seen him for years. And so I started the session off by asking, what have you changed in just the last 5 years? What has changed in your behavior, in you as a person, in the last 5 years? And he could not identify a single thing. And I said, this is the reason why your wife is preparing to leave you. because you want your wife,
So you say.
but what you're doing is the same foul things to her that you have always done, and you haven't changed or improved
No change.
in years.
Or even improve. Exactly.
And so the process,
add up.
the process of bringing that to people's attention is where the therapy gets rough. But you got to drop it on them. This is not a therapy for people who are deep in depression.
Guess what they think? They think, well, I used to call her 50 B's. Now I only call her 45. That's a good improvement.
And for those clients, what my question is does she consider that a good enough improvement, or is she still looking for attorneys? So,
period.
According to your definition, you are improving fast enough. According to hers, you're not. And if you're going to be moving at a snail's pace, then you need to be prepared that you're going to lose your marriage. Okay, so WDE, and then P is planning. Plan a course of action to change the behavior, because after confronting these negative behaviors, helping the client to see that they are sabotaging their own goal, then you step back and say, are you now willing to do things differently? Or are you going to continue your same course of action and end up in divorce court? And so the planning piece, after you have helped them to really see, I'm sabotaging my own goal. Even between parents and kids, I want to have a better relationship with my son, a better relationship with my daughter. But, I'm like emotionally abusive and physically abusive. And okay, so how can we plan can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. How can we plan for you to do things differently? So, how it works. Dr. Glasser, this, since the 60s, founded on the idea that everyone is seeking to fulfill 5 basic needs, and mental health issues arise when these needs are not getting met. So in taking a look at a person's behavior that is damaging their relationships, what we look at is, why are you doing this? Do you feel like your basic needs are not being met? So here are the basic needs. Power, or a sense of self-worth and achievement, because everybody has a need to feel in control of their lives and to feel good about who they are as a person. Love and belonging, or being part of a family or a community of loved ones. So when it comes to couples therapy, a lot of times they're like, we are toxic and doing this because I want to be loved by this person, okay? But cussing them out on a regular basis might not be the way to achieve it. You're not going. That's not going to get you there. Do you hear an echo?
Just keep going, please.
Well, I don't want our listeners to have to deal with that echo. Okay. Mr. Walker's like, they'll be all right. Okay, freedom and independence.
Freedom.
And this is very common with my female clients, because they're like, he want to know where I'm at and when I'm going and how long I'm gonna be there and who am I with and da 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 da. And I'm a grown woman. I want my freedom. And that's true.
I look at that as being a little bit of just respect, because you guys are married.
To a degree.
Yes, to a degree.
It's, to me, the respect piece, like if my wife is going somewhere, she'll be like, I'm going to such and such and such and such. But I don't need her calling me all while she gone. I'm going from here to there. I'm going to this. Because I was seeing a couple last week that got into a huge fight because the spouse came home 2 hours early. The conflict was because the spouse's schedule changed. Something that they were planning to do got canceled, and they came home early, but they failed to communicate that to the spouse. So the spouse was so focused on your schedule changed and you didn't tell me, that they didn't think about the fact, but wait a minute, he came straight home.
He could have went someplace else for the other 2 hours.
He could have went someplace else. Okay, because the strip club's open all day.
Oh, he could have found him a side chick. Know the side chick's house. But he came home. Are we froze?
Yes.
Are we froze? Our engineer is not watching.
Mr. Walker's on his cell
what we're
phone.
supposed to be doing it on his cell phone.
And here's the fifth need that can make a person act out of character: survival, or the comfort of knowing that one's basic needs, food, shelter, sex, etc., are met. So these are the things that can cause a person to act out of character. So in therapy, you take a look at if they feel that any of these basic needs are not being met, whether it's true or not. Because sometimes it's just their perspective that the needs are not being met. It doesn't matter because they're reacting to it. They're reacting to them feeling like they're not being met. And so helping them to move forward, you got to figure out what needs they feel are not getting met. Okay, reality therapy is also based on choice theory, okay, that you cannot change or control other people. And the only sensible approach to solving problems is to control you. You only got control over
yourself.
You can't control everybody else.
Just yourself.
And so getting people to focus on themselves as opposed to, because a lot of abusive behaviors take place because the person's trying to control somebody else and trying to, they gonna do this, they gonna do that.
Make them do this.
Right.
And you can't.
It destroys the relationship. Okay. Now, there are 7 habits to help you to connect in relationships. And this is really, to me, the best part of the therapy, where you work with them on the change that needs to make. Support, and this goes for parenting also, okay? Support. You have to be supportive. You can't just focus on the negatives in your marriage or in your relationship with your kids. Be supportive of them. You know, like the D, you do a lot of different business and things. You need a man that's gonna be able to be supportive. These fools hitting you up in your DMs, ooh, I wanna get with the D, I wanna get with the D. One of the things you need to be having a conversation with them about is, listen, I'm a busy person. I'm an entrepreneur.
I don't say entrepreneur. I'm administrative assistant.
That's what you say. Mm-hmm. But at some point, at some point, if the relationship continues,
I still am an administrator. All of my stuff and my businesses. Once I get to know them.
Yeah, I'm talking about once. But at some point, you need to know if they can handle the fact that you're an entrepreneur.
Right.
Because some men cannot handle that. They are insecure with a woman who is, business driven and making money. And so you need to know, are you going to be able to be supportive, or is your ego going to get in the way?
Your ego going to get in the way.
So support is important. Encouragement. Are they going to be able to stand beside the D and say, we're going to get this money, we're going to do
baby.
this.
Come on, I'm finna drive you to go. I'm finna drive you to Manhattan to get that $50,000
We're going to
bond.
do this, we're going to do it, we're going to do it, we're going to do it. Encouragement. This builds relationships. Okay? And these also help to strike a balance, because you're gonna have to address the things that are not going so great in a relationship, but you need to strike a balance. You can't be all negative in a relationship. You have to balance the positive with the negative. So you may have some issues with the D, and you may need to address those issues with the D.
Why are you talking about the D on the negative part?
Because we're still talking about the support and the encouragement. D. So they might want to address certain things with you that are not positive, that are negative. But if they strike in a balance, and if you can feel like, you know what, he just addressed that with me, I see where he's coming from. At least everything I hear from this fool ain't negative, though. He's also supportive of the things that I do that is good and that is right and that is correct, and he's encouraging. That's going to make you more receptive to constructive feedback when he gives it. Okay. Listening. Now, this is what I do with couples. This is what I do with couples. Because a lot of couples get into constant arguments. You're not listening to me. You don't hear me. And this is a communication issue. And so what I will have couples to get into the habit of doing is saying, what do you hear me saying? Or saying, this is what I hear you saying. Is that what you meant? Because a lot of times they're like, no,
That's right.
that is
Reframe
not
it.
what I meant. That is not what I was saying.
That's just what you heard.
Okay, could you restate? Because once they're on the same page and the person fully understands what is being said, then y'all can do problem solving. You can't do
Yes.
problem solving if y'all ain't on the same page. You don't know what each other is saying. And so the listening piece, I always give that suggestion, that assignment. Check in with the person to be sure that you understand what they're saying. Okay? Acceptance, accepting their reality. Now, a couple recently was saying, how am I supposed to accept his reality? Because if we have an argument between this is an apple and this is an orange, right is right and wrong is wrong. And if he's saying that that apple is an orange, that's wrong, and I'm not falling for that. I'm not going for that. And so they get into these fights. Well, the first thing is, usually when couples are having a disagreement, it's not over something concrete like that. When they are disagreeing, it's because one person has a different perspective. A person knows the difference between an apple and an orange. Yes. And that's really what I should have said. I didn't say that during the session. Like, that's not a good example. But what I have to help people to see when it comes to acceptance is you have to accept another person's reality. You don't have to agree with it, but you don't get to tell them that their experience or that their perspective is totally invalid. Even if they're a little delusional, they still sincerely believe what they're saying. And so you can't force them to see it differently. You need to understand what their reality is, and then y'all can try to do some problem solving.
And then you can do some problem solving.
Right. Trust and rebuilding it. You know, I'm adding to the man's therapy at this point, okay? All these notes, these are my notes, okay? Because this is how this therapy should be done. Trust and rebuilding it if it's damaged, okay? And putting forth the effort in that. Respect in words and actions. I'm going to write this up too, okay? You have to have that. You can't be cussing each other out and punching each other in the face. Negotiation, compromise. A relationship is about compromise. So you have to be able to do that. Stop acting single while you in a relationship.
Woo, go ahead on. That one's real good.
Because couples where one or both don't want to compromise, what I say to them is, if you was living by yourself, then you'd be able to do everything your way. But you in a relationship. Stop trying to be single in a marriage. It doesn't work. Okay. Criticism, excessive and non-constructive criticism. Limit. This is what I tell parents and couples to do. You should not have more than 2 negative, maybe 3 interactions with your loved one in a given day.
Oh, most definitely.
If you, a parent who is having multiple negative interactions with their kid over the course of the day, after a while, the kid is like, all you ever see is negative things about me. Even with my 3-year-old, I make sure that I don't have more than 2 negative interactions with her. Anything else that happens, deal with it another day. You can't overwhelm a kid
That's a good one.
with everything that they doing wrong. You doing this wrong. You doing that wrong. You doing this. They can't handle that. And so this helps people
and it's beating up their self-esteem.
It tears them down. And this is a way to help parents to pick their battles better, because if you know that you got a 2 incident limit, and you walk in and the kid's drawers is on the bathroom floor, and it's like, okay, I know we're gonna have an issue over homework later today, so for these drawers, I'm gonna just say, look, it's something wrong in the bathroom, I need you to go fix it. That's it. You don't need to fuss for 15-20 minutes. You always leave your clothes on the bathroom floor because you're gonna have to fuss later about the homework.
Pick your battles.
It's something wrong in the
homework or
bathroom.
funky dookery draws. Which one?
There you go. Okay, we got to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is our show for today. Reality therapy. I didn't get through all of it because of the D and the professor, but I covered enough of it to give an idea so that if you go see a therapist and you are participating in reality therapy, you kind of know what's going on. But this is a therapy that I want people to practice on themselves. Always stop and ask yourself, I have a goal. Does my behavior lead towards the goal, or is my behavior sabotaging the goal? That's the core of this therapy. And accept responsibility for your behavior. And then make the necessary changes. That's our show for today. Thank you for joining us. And remember, worry about nothing.
And pray about everything. And don't forget to watch us at 7 p.m. if you miss us at 2 p.m.
Yeah, prime time.
Prime time.
Thank you and God bless.
Bye-bye.